We're going to talk about a few different careers today. Our magazine focuses on careers in transportation. We have a different theme each issue, and we publish every 2 months. And we kind of focus on different people who are out there doing the different jobs in transportation. And there's a lot out there. Like I got this job as a writer for the magazine, kind of because I needed money, for school. I didn't really know anything about transportation. Never really thought about careers in transportation. And there's quite a bit out there, and I'm actually kind of regretting that I didn't know about it before I started writing for this magazine. A lot of it's related to engineering and technology, which is really high paying, like relative to other work out there. You got to put in your time, you got to go to school, you got to want to learn and be excited about what you're doing, but there's a lot of great opportunities out there. And some of them we're going to talk about today: an ATV engineer, a light rail manager, transportation engineer, and a crash investigator. ATV engineer, like, I don't know, some of you guys have probably ridden ATVs, four-wheelers, Sea-Doos, stuff like that. I haven't really grown up, I grew up in the city, so I grew up like skateboarding and riding bikes and stuff like that, playing soccer, but I wasn't really an outdoors kind of guy. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever rode a four-wheeler was when I met my girlfriend in college. She lives on a farm in Glenwood, Iowa, which is in the southwest corner of Iowa near Council Bluffs. So I never really thought about this, ATV is just people out there that got to do maintenance. They get paid to go out to Arizona and drive four-wheelers, like test them. Like that's a pretty sweet job. So this lady, Valerie Sandifer, she's a graduate of Iowa State University's mechanical engineering program, and she's an ATV engineer. She gets paid to ride like jet skis and go out and ride products that belong to Polaris Industries. She is primarily responsible for the suspension systems. So she's doing research on the springs and shock absorbers, things that are related to the wheels and what connects to the vehicle. And she chose to study engineering because it's challenging and hands-on, and it gave her a lot of choices for a full-time job. And it is, it's very applied. You have to be a very good problem solver. You have to be good at math and science. And you have to think creatively. Like, even though there's math and science and it's very practical, it's very book-oriented, once you know that information and learn it, you move away from the books and you have to start thinking, like, how can I apply this information to the real world? So when you're in high school, things like geometry, physics, trigonometry, calculus, these are courses that are going to prepare you to take engineering courses once you get to college. And people are always wondering when they think about jobs, well, I got to make money, I'm going to have a family, or I've got things I want to do, I want to travel, how much money can I make? And engineers, they can make some pretty good money. If you work at like a grocery store or work in retail, you're going to be starting like $22,000, $25,000, maybe $27,000 if you're lucky. You do well in high school, you apply yourself in your classes, you get a scholarship to college, and you do well in college, you're going to be making double that easily when you graduate with an engineering degree. She even was making money in school, Like, I wish I was making $1,800 by, a month. That's pretty nice. In college, what you can do is $1,800 a month. That'll take care of your rent, no problem. You got money left over for a car, money left over to take your girlfriend, your boyfriend out. So, you're doing pretty good as a mechanical engineer. You want to go to the next slide? Another option, if you're not really interested in going to college, but you're kind of interested in what's out there as far as transportation goes. This is Carmen Wright. She started off as a bus driver right out of high school. Not too glamorous, just driving the school bus, used to ride it, started driving it. If you want to go to the next slide, was driving her bus one day. She pulled up next to a railroad. She saw this woman driving a train, and she said, this little old thing, she said to herself, man, if that little lady can drive that train, I can drive that train too. So she's pretty excited about that, and she started with another company in San Diego, started driving commuter trains and worked her way up. Worked as a trolley operator, as a train operator, and eventually got to a position as a line controller where she was in a management position, coordinating all activities between the different train operators and making sure that they run on time, everything's safe. Something goes wrong with the train, she's the lady to call. She's got like 80 employees under her, so she's got a lot of responsibility. But at the same time, you know, it's always interesting. She told me a story one day when she moved from San Diego to Phoenix to work for the Valley Metro there. They had a difficulty with an old lady who had parked her car in the tracks, and they got a call about this. One of the trains had to stop because there's this car in the tracks. It turned out that the lady was a realtor, and her car got stuck, and she didn't know what to do, so she just left and went and showed her house to her client, and then came back like 2 hours later. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that you have to deal with. It's not always technical. You got to have good people skills too, and you have to be able to deal with the unexpected. You know, you got a car on the train track. You got to be creative. How are you going to deal with that? If you just move it without the keys in, you're going to mess up her transmission, and that's going to be a lot of trouble. And you know, there's money in this too. I didn't know about it, but Carmen is aspiring to be a transportation director, which is just one step above what she's doing now as a line controller. So she's in charge of all the managers. And once you get into a position like that, you got to have a little higher education. So I mean, you're going to have to deal with like the business side. So you're going to need a business degree or a bachelor's degree in public administration. And you know, that's pretty good education. You're going to have to hit the books on that one, but the rewards are good too. I mean, you see those figures, $84,000 to $107,000 per year. That's not shabby. You know, you live in a nice house or something like that.